Hello and welcome to Talk a Good Game. It's a preview of Arsenal against West Ham United in association with our sponsor, Royal London Watches. Gonzo, is this a big game for West Ham, or is it a sort of a doesn't matter type game, bonus points?
I think it's bonus points. I think it's probably a bigger game for Arsenal, as ridiculous as it sounds. I think our focus is, if you're looking at fixtures at the start of the season where you get points from, you probably wouldn't think of this one. Now we go into the season, the position we're in following Hull, you're looking at the next two games and you're thinking, okay, well, we probably won't get anything from there, but Swansea becomes the more important one. So, yeah, anything we get is a bonus. Arsenal have to win if they want to stay in contention.
Well, let's talk about our opposition on Wednesday night. Ryan, what's your thoughts on Arsenal?
Defensively, they're not so good, but their attacking play is just another planet compared to ours, and that's just they should be doing better than what they're doing, but it just seems like they've given up in terms of trying to challenge for anything.
There's a lot of discussion going on around the managerial situation at Arsenal. What's your thoughts on it, Ryan? Would you be sort of in or out, if you like? It's similar to what's going on at West Ham a little bit.
If I was an Arsenal fan, I'd definitely be out, because there's, they all know Wenger is capable of winning the league and challenging for everything, but he just doesn't seem to want to do it now. He doesn't want to buy the players. He just doesn't want to change anything around the club. It just doesn't make sense on how he's become a guy who won the league with the Invincibles, and now he's become this.
What about yourself, Gonzo? What's your thoughts on the red side of North London and their manager, etc.?
Well, I think he's an excellent manager. I don't agree with what Ryan says that he's given up. I think he's just so convinced that his own system and his own way of doing things is the right way. He's almost desperate to prove that he can win the league without buying big signings, and that he can sort of nurture young players. That Iwobi is a case in point. He's not all that, but he seemed intent on playing him at the start of the season. They've got some excellent players and some average players, but I think I think there's a lack of gratitude from the fans. It's almost as if Arsenal fans have only been around for the past 4 or 5 years and they have forgotten what he's done. They're still in contention. They're a good club. They're a well-run club. Could they spend some more money? Yes. Should Wenger go? Well, he probably will go soon enough. He's been there a long time, and I'm pretty sure he'll go upstairs and move somebody else in. But it's certainly, they've got no right to win anything. Just like Man U have got no right to win anything. Man U might not finish in the top 4. Didn't finish in the top 4 last year. So what? Do you know what I mean? If Man United haven't got any right to be up there, Arsenal certainly don't. But so I think there's a lot of hollering and screaming over next to nothing from their fans, to be fair.
I'm a bit more with Ryan. I think we're becoming a bit like Arsenal 2.0, but instead of just qualifying for the Champions League, it's almost like just avoid the Championship. And I think we can sort of, our club, I think, has got a lot of similarities going on to what Arsenal has just now. I think there's sort of a similarity in the attitude of the fans, etc., and sort of what's right and what's wrong. But anyway, Arsenal have only done the double over Everton and us 9 times. So if they beat us on Wednesday night, we will be their best opponent in history of the Premier League. They will have done the double over us in the Premier League 10 times. They've not done that to any other team in the Premier League. But Walcott, do you fear Walcott, Ryan? Again, he scored against Man City. He's got 5 in 11 against us. Yeah,
I fear Walcott. To be honest, the biggest fear I have against Arsenal is that front 4, because I know for a fact he's going to go for pace. He's going to probably put Welbeck up top, Sanchez on the left, Walcott on the right, probably Ozil in the middle, who seems, well, he got an assist at the weekend. Don't know how he's going to play, but them other players, especially if we go with like a Fontaine Collins centre back 2, it's just going to be like candy for them on the day.
Right, one word answers. Gonzo, will Arsenal finish in the top 4?
Yes.
Ryan?
No.
I don't think they will either. The man in the middle at Emirates is Martin Atkinson, and he's kind of my favourite referee. We've had him a few times this season. We beat Middlesbrough 3-1 away from home. We beat Crystal Palace away from home 1-0. and we lost 4-2 at home against Watford. We've had him 33 times in the Premier League, winning 15. Arsenal have a similar record to us with Martin Atkinson in charge. They've had him 33 times as well, winning just 16. However, in those 33 games, there's been 6 red cards. So Martin Atkinson loves a red card when he's in charge of an Arsenal game. They've had him twice this season, once when they beat Sunderland 4-1 and when they got beat 2-1 away to Manchester City. Useless stats for if you're a West Ham fan. West Ham, since Slaven Bilic took charge, we've won 6 of 7 midweek Premier League games. And in that time, Arsenal have only won 1 of 8. So you never know. It could mean something, but chances are it's just useless. But let's talk about their defence, Gonzo, because this is the area I think we spent a lot of time talking about the attack, if you like, because it's sort of what wingers are working. We've had Ayew coming back from African nations. We've had Carroll in and out the team. But now I think everyone's starting to turn their attention to the back and go, well, it's not really working. Would you stick with the back 4, Gonzo, for this one, or would you go back to the back 3?
I don't really think they've got an awful lot of choice. I think it really depends. It's really hard. I wouldn't be surprised to see us almost throw this game. Now, when I say throw it, I wouldn't be surprised if Bilic almost says, right, I'm just going to go in there and just defend and save a lot of players for Saturday. So, you know, a lot of changes. I think if he does that, he may well play the back 4 and almost put a shield in front of them, almost 2 banks of 4, or maybe a 4 and a 5. I think if we were in any way sort of going for it, I think you've got to play the back 3 because clearly we've got problems with the full backs. Clearly we've got a lack of pace at centre back, and you'd probably need to try and put Kiate into a back 3 just to help Collins and Font out, who don't have any pace at all. Ryan alluded to pace. Our quickest players are nowhere near as quick as their quickest players. So we got problems there. So if I was going to win this game, I'd play a back 3. If I was going to get the draw, I'd almost play a back 9 in many respects, but that would be backed up by a back 4, if that makes sense.
Ryan, what about yourself? Would you revert to the 3 or would you stick with the 4?
No, I'm sticking to the back 4, but I would take Collins out and put Kiate there. But I'm also put Font in it over Collins because if we're going to be playing mostly counter-attacking football, and Fonte is a better passer of the ball. He might not be a better defender, but he's a better passer of the ball. And we need that distribution to be perfect on Wednesday night. And the pace of Kiate to deal with Welbeck or Sanchez if Barham gets caught out.
Well, just to echo your 2 sentiments on the pace, I would like to see us go 3 at the back because I think we need check in there. I shudder. I think Danny Welbeck's movement is very underrated in Premier League. He's not the best striker in Premier League, but his movement's quite clever. He knows how to play against every type of defender, and he will know that James Collins is slow, and he will position himself on the shoulder of James Collins. And it's a case of you put the ball behind, I'm leaving this guy for dust. It worries me. I would go to 3 at back, and this is what I'm going to do that might shock you two on here. I would play Nordveit. I've done that. I would play Nordveit in front of that back 3 alongside Mark Noble with the simple instruction of you do not move. He has started 1 game for West Ham in the defensive midfielder position. He's a defensive midfielder. How has he only ever started 1 game in that position for us? It's ridiculous. He's been the biggest culprit, in my opinion, of Bilic's moving players about, if you like. Fuguli's had a lot of chances to get it right at the right wing position. Nordveit's had 1 chance defensive midfielder. When he played that game, we beat Bournemouth 1-0. Now, I'm not saying he's the reason, but in that game, he made 7 interceptions, which is a lot more than anyone else on the pitch. He knows how to play that role. Put him in there. When I sort of started getting into football, Arsenal was a team I like to watch and learn. I like to try and learn football off Arsenal when they had Henry, Perez and Lundberg and that. They still, like what you were saying about their manager, they still play that same sort of football. And the area that Arsenal love to play football in is the area between your midfield and your defence. You give them space in that area, they will take it and they will use it. And I think we need to put Nordveit in there to try and minimise that space. Gonzo, am I going a bit mental, or is it a case of it's time? You know, in my opinion, some people might say it's mad to change it for the Arsenal game, but we've not changed it since we've been getting beat by Leicester, Bournemouth and Hull. No,
I agree. And if we didn't have 3 games in 8 days, I would sort of agree with you. Not the Nordvite, sort of anyone. Of course, Nordvite came through the Arsenal Academy. So if anybody knows how Arsenal play, it's certainly going to be him. I'd be looking at the players that can play 3 games in 8 days. And anyone that can't, I'd be giving a rest. So I'd be resting Carroll. I mean, so you'd put someone, I for instance, would put in that midfield, I would put Fernandes in there because Fernandes is fit, he's young, he's leggy, he didn't really play much of the whole game. He came on as a substitute. Can he play against Arsenal and Swansea at that top sort of energy level? Yes, he can. I'll be looking for players like that to go in. And if Nordvite is one of them, who probably, if Nordvite plays against Arsenal, he won't. It's because someone's getting rested for Swansea. So if that's the case, by all means, put them all in. Put them all in. Pick up a shield. Put a shield up. See if we can get a draw. So he provides defensive solidity, certainly.
I think I know your answer to this one, Gonzo, going by what you said so far. But Antonio's back in training, Sakho's back in training. Would you be risking them, or would you be saying you're not even on the bench, you're playing against Swansea?
Yeah, unleash him in a 4-4-2 against Swansea. Save those really important guys, Carroll as well, as you just heard me say.
So who would you play up front then?
I mean, it's going to sound terrible, but it's if I get a bit of stick, I get a bit of stick, because if you play Carroll or Sakho up there, they're highly likely, bearing in mind their injury records, not to be available for Swansea. That's the big game. You're going to have to play Kaleri, Ayew, or Fletcher up there, just someone to run around a lot and just make their centre-backs pass the ball quickly and then have a shield of 9 men behind, really.
Ryan, what would you do in the attacking side? We've heard your defensive side. What about going forward? Would you be playing Carroll? I mean, for the first time in 2 years, he's played 4 90-minute games. He's now away to play a midweek game in between 2 really important ones.
I am going to play Carroll, and the reason is because we're going to need him for when we get corners coming in. I know we're rubbish at defending corners anyway, but they're going to have so much possession and be in our half so much. And then what we like to do a lot of the time is block the ball out and go just clear it for a corner, and we're going to need him for that. I've also put Lanzini in like a 4-4-2 diamond, so where he can just rhyme and just use his counter-attacking prowess and not have a defensive work to do, because there's going to be Noble, Fernandes, and Nordvite in the 3, in the front the back 4.
Well, I was going
to partner him.
I was going to have Noble, Nordvite, and then I would like to see Lanzini, Fernandes as attacking midfielders, because I think them two have got pace, but I think they're probably 2 are technically better players with the football at their feet. They can pass the ball. With Feghouli and Snodgrass, I'm not convinced Lanzini could give it to them and run and get it back, if that makes sense. I think they'd give it to them and they might stick across him, but they might not. And up front, it's up to...
And also, Nordvite likes to spray the ball back, doesn't he?
Well, he's actually
he's not just a short passer.
Nordvite's average length pass is higher than Noble's, Fernandes, Cecchiati's, and Lanzini's. He's got a longer pass on him, average. But right, let's talk about it. Are we going to get anything from the game? Ryan, do you think we're going to get anything from this game? Gonzo said there's bonus points. Do you agree with him?
Yeah, absolutely. Arsenal are going to be absolutely hungry to win it. They know we're weak. They're going to be out for blood. They're going to know that we're going to be more focused on Swansea because it is more of an important game. So yeah, if we get a point, that's a better point than anything else.
Gonzo, what about yourself? Are you confident we're going to get anything?
No, I think we're going to lose. But this is a really big game for Bilic. If Bilic can pull a tactical masterstroke out of the hat, get 3 points, he saves his job, as far as I'm concerned with this. If he can go to Arsenal and get 3 points, he saves his job. So I don't know if he's got, as I say, if he's got a trick up his sleeve, something that he can pull out, then he's going to need to do something. But if it does, it will surprise me. It will surprise Arsene Wenger. It will surprise everyone. I cannot imagine with the form, which is not the same West Ham as last season. I can't imagine the form we're in that we go to the Emirates and pick anything up.
Well, this might be a surprising stat that Arsenal, not Emirates, Highbury as well, is actually our second favourite ground to visit in the Premier League history. We have won at Arsenal 5 times in the Premier League history. Only Fulham we have beaten 6 times away from home. And of course, Andy Carroll scored a hat-trick against them at home last season. So you just never know. I'm not very confident. I'm expecting nothing. I think you're right, Gonzo. It's bonus points. There's a difference between the two sort of managers and teams under pressures for different reasons. And I think that is going to reflect in the importance of this outcome. West Ham only need to win 1 or 2 more games this season. Arsenal can only afford not to win 1 or 2 games this season. So for Arsenal, this is a must-win. For West Ham, if anything, it's a do not lose. But if we lose, it's not the end of the world. Saturday against Swansea is our big one. But saying that, because it's bonus points, if we get anything on Wednesday night, the teams below us are going to think, oh, no, West Ham just got something at the Emirates. We're not catching them anymore. And it just lifts everyone for Saturday. So this game could actually be huge for the game against Swansea. But come on then, time to get our next one live. I've got a feeling I know what you're going to say. Well, Gonzo, I know what you're going to say. I don't know your score, though. So what's your score prediction?
I think 2-0 to Arsenal would be lucky to come away with it.
Would you be happy, Gonzo? Well, not happy, but would you take a 2-0 defeat, providing the players just gave 100%? Because for me, that's what we were lacking on Saturday. It just didn't look like they cared. And I can accept defeats so long as we're putting the graft, so long as we're fighting for every ball. And as long as Arsenal have to play at their best, I can take a defeat.
No, because, and I don't want West Ham players to make an effort. That's not what I'm saying. There's players I don't want to see on Saturday, like Snodgrass and the likes of him for Gully. So I think, I don't mean I want to say they don't care, clearly, but you know what I'm saying. The players that are not going to bust a gut, and let's be fair, Faguli is not going to bust a gut for West Ham United, right? So bearing in mind he's not going to bust a gut on Saturday, I'd prefer to see him thrown in against Arsenal. So bearing in mind I want all the flaky players thrown in against Arsenal. Do I expect that full effort? No, I don't. If we can come away without damaging the goal difference too much, then it's a job well done. But just one thing on what I was going to say. Bilic is damned if he doesn't, damned if he doesn't. Because if he doesn't get anything, then it's a bit of a downer. We're still on this losing streak. But can you imagine if Bilic started with Andy Carroll and he got injured against Arsenal? The stick that he'd get would everyone would be questioning his judgment, because actually everyone would be saying, well, we knew we couldn't get anything at Arsenal. We knew Andy Carroll's injury prone. We knew he should be wrapped in cotton wool for Swansea. So he's going to be very brave to go there and do this tactical master plan with all these best players. If I was him, I'd almost play a lesser team, save him for Swansea.
Ryan, score prediction?
I'm going for about 4-1 Arsenal. We are so bad defensively that I can't see anything else. I can't see it being a lesser score, because we're just all over the place. And the way Arsenal just can cut through defences sometimes, it's just going to be too much for us. And then, people questioning Randolph at the moment, and he hasn't been putting off a lot of saves lately. So it might be a crazy night.
I'm going for 1-1. Now, the reason for that is, as crap as we are, Arsenal are also crap at the minute. I watched them against City, and the first 10 minutes was like watching West Ham. They were nothing. There was no defending, no organisation, nothing. And there's a massive lack of fight in that Arsenal team as well as West Ham right now. And I think it's almost, if we can turn it into a battle, if we can turn up with the right attitude, I think we can win in a non-footballing sense. We're not going to beat them on the floor. We're not going to beat them trying to outplay them football, but we can beat them to every second ball. I think we can get something from this game. And this is where Bilic, I think Bilic is going to have to gamble Carroll. He's going to have to gamble Mark Noble, even if he's not 100% fit. He's going to have fighters in that team that are up for it, because I don't know. I just think Arsenal might underestimate us. But anyway, let us know what you think at home. You can do that in the comments below, or come onto our forum at hammerschat.com. There'll be a link to the match thread down below. Also on Wednesday night, we'll be back with our review live a couple of minutes after the full-time whistle. Hopefully we're not chatting about a humiliating defeat like Ryan's predicting, or just a small defeat like Gonzo's predicted. Hopefully we'll be discussing a point like I'm predicting. But hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you on Wednesday night. Thank you for joining us.